Hey guys, this is EckhartsLadder. Hello and welcome to another Star Wars Legends lore video, and today is a happy day because we haven't gotten into the weird parts of Star Wars Legends for quite a while. I mean, spaceships are fun, Jedi are fun, but sometimes you gotta go weird, and that's what we're doing today. We're looking at every time the Star Wars galaxy was invaded. Anyone who knows even a little bit about Star Wars Legends is probably aware of the galaxy's most famous invaders, the Yuuzhan Vong, but most would also be surprised to know that the galaxy was invaded on several other occasions. That's what we're going to look at in today's video. You may also be surprised to know that sometimes the invaders don't come from another galaxy, rather they come from another dimension. In this video, I'm going to cover both the extra-galactic and the extra-dimensional invaders. Before I do, I have a question to pose to you, the community. Would you like these weirder parts of Star Wars Legends to be incorporated into the new canon? Specifically, how would you think about visiting or mentioning other galaxies, other universes, or perhaps something else? I'm not talking about in the main movies, but perhaps in novels or maybe more suitably comic books. Let me know in the poll I've put in the upper right hand corner and also down in the comments. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about this. Also guys, just a reminder that I'm still taking questions for next week's Q&A. You can either post them down in the comments section on this video or on any other video. You can tweet them at me on Twitter where I'm almost guaranteed to see them, or you can put them on the Discord. I've got a channel set up specifically for that purpose. Links to all those things down in the description and also in the pinned comment. Anyway, let's get on with it and look at all of the times the Star Wars galaxy has been invaded by non-galactic forces. Let's start first with the interdimensional stuff, just because it's a little less prominent and it'll be quicker to cover. The first invaders were actually peaceful ones, although that was admittedly a strike of luck for the galaxy. In the Star Wars universe, you have real space, which is where most everything happens. You have hyperspace, which is how you travel faster than the speed of light, and then you also have other space. In other space, there exists a race known as the Charon. The Charon have an interesting history. They originated in real space as the descendants of a species created by the mysterious Cathal, and the Cathal also created the Dark Strider, which is a very unique being within Star Wars Legends. At some point, the Charon were dragged through a black hole into other space, and that's where they remained for quite some time, growing angry and growing violent. Some members of the Charon managed to develop a hyperdrive, despite the fact that most Charon technology was quite antiquated. Thankfully, the Charon that had hold of the hyperdrive were actually tired of the death cult of the evil Charon and were really just looking for peace, and that's what they found within the galaxy. Evil Charon did occasionally make their way into the galaxy, although this was seemingly fairly rare because they really lacked in technology. One occasion led to the Battle of Stronghold, which is present along with all other information regarding the Charon in the Other Space expansion pack for the Star Wars role-playing game. In keeping with the theme of this video, the second Other Space expansion pack is actually subtitled Invasion and details a failed and prevented Charon invasion. One thing that's notable is that in this expansion pack, the Charon are said to be killers of galaxies, so that's something interesting that you Star Wars Legends fans might enjoy. We also have the Rozzum, who appear only briefly and only through retcon in the Alan Moore comic Blind Fury. Blind Fury is actually fairly interesting. It was written by famous comic book writer Alan Moore and is from the early 80s, so that was a very weird era in Star Wars history. In Blind Fury, the creatures which would later become the Rozzum aren't revealed to be from another dimension, rather they seem like more hellish demons. A backstory was added for them in which they developed in another dimension and had several excursions into the known galaxy and were fought off by Imperials, but nonetheless, the Rozzum were the second extra-dimensional invaders in the Star Wars galaxy. Similarly, you have the Nal-Nal, who exist in the unknown region and who may be from another dimension. The Nal-Nal, like I suppose the Rozzum, haven't really invaded, they more just exist in the galaxy doing their own thing. The oft-lambasted Ssi-Ruu also existed in the Star Wars galaxy, and he was confirmed to come from another dimension. Since I have been fairly exhaustive on the topic of interdimensional entities, I should also mention Cody Sunchild. Although he never actually invaded the Star Wars galaxy, he did come from the Star Wars galaxy, kind of create his own dimension and his own things within that dimension, and then was later attacked by the Imperials, so kind of like the opposite of what's happened so far in this video. So that basically covers the extra-dimensional invaders, the invaders not from the main dimension of the Star Wars universe. Let's now talk about extra-galactic invaders, i.e. invaders from outside of the Star Wars galaxy. Before I actually get into the invading species, there is some ambiguity that needs to be cleared up. Technically, you can say that the unknown regions is part of the galaxy. Technically, you could make an argument that it's outside of the galaxy. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to say that the unknown regions is part of the galaxy. So, the Ssi-Ruu, for example, who invaded from the unknown regions, are not extra-galactic invaders. That also keeps things simple because it means we don't have to talk about any invasion from the Killik or any conflict with the Chiss or any other unknown region species, which could be a video for another day. So let's first talk about invaders from the Yuuzhan Vong galaxy, and the most obvious ones here are the Yuuzhan Vong. That could be a whole 100 videos in and of itself, so I'm not going to talk about the Yuuzhan Vong War. But for those who aren't aware, an extra-galactic species called the Yuuzhan Vong did invade the Star Wars galaxy. However, the Yuuzhan Vong were not the only species from that galaxy which had a presence in the greater universe. Most notably, we had the machine races of the Abominor and the Silentium. However, their overall impact on the galaxy was relatively minor, with the Abominor only really having one living member in the galaxy doing anything, with the Silentium only actually engaging with the galaxy in any sort of hostile way on one occasion, and only to ensure the safety of one of their own. Also from that galaxy we have the Chazrak. Now, the Chazrak weren't hostile on their own, but they did operate as soldiers for the Yuuzhan Vong during the Yuuzhan Vong War. Due to the biological nature of Yuuzhan Vong technology and Yuuzhan Vong weapons, you could actually further add to the species involved in the Yuuzhan Vong War if you wanted to get really specific, but I'll save that for another video. Besides for the Yuuzhan Vong galaxy, we've also seen invaders from Fire Fist, which is the colloquial name for one of the orbiting satellite galaxies. Although the hyperspace anomaly at the edge of the galaxy does prevent most intergalactic travel, there has been some conventional travel between both Fire Fist and the Rishi Maze. It should be noted that there actually are 7 named companion galaxies to the Star Wars galaxy. However, they're just named, besides for the first 2, Companion A to Companion G in Aurebesh. Companion Besh, also known as Fire Fist, was the only one of these galaxies that actually had any life in it. Specifically, Fire Fist was home to the Faerun, the Macabre, the Nagai, and the Tofs. I've covered all of these species in some details before, but really the main thing to know for the purposes of this video is that the Tofs were the aggressors in that galaxy. They actually ended up dominating every other species within the galaxy. This led to an invasion in the Star Wars galaxy in 2 separate ways. First, after the defeat of the Galactic Empire, the Nagai, who are one of the dominated species within Fire Fist, noticed that there was a void in power. They planned to invade the Star Wars galaxy to cultivate their forces there and eventually strike back against the Tofs. They actually did that, they attacked the Star Wars galaxy, however the Tofs actually followed them. The Tofs specifically ended up drawing the ire of the wider galactic community, who ended up allying with the Nagai. Funny enough, the Nagai were able to not only help drive the Tofs from the Star Wars universe, but actually gained allies who returned to Fire Fist to help them fight off the Tofs at home. The Mandalorians specifically, who were ironically attacked by the Nagai during the initial invasion, returned to Fire Fist to help defeat the Tofs. Because this arc really only lasted for 5 issues of the old Star Wars comic, we don't really know how this ended, but it would have been quite interesting to see the actual counter-invasion within Fire Fist. Each one of the races are actually kind of fun because they have their own unique visual style. The Tofs themselves are kind of reminiscent of Vikings, which is really campy but kind of fun. Anyways, besides for the invaders from those 2 galaxies, it's hard to really claim that any of the other extra-galactic species that visited the Star Wars universe were actually properly invaders. There were, however, a few visitors. For example, the Star Wars role-playing game featured a spaceship which had some sort of organic computer as a visitor from another galaxy. In one of the old Star Wars educational-based children's games, you also play as a visitor from another galaxy. An issue of the old Star Wars comics also featured a biological vessel from another galaxy. Now, some have claimed that this was actually first contact with the Yuuzhan Vong, but this has never been officially retconned, and for now, that's still a fan theory and a pretty wild one at that. The last thing is that technically in Star Wars Legends, Kamino was outside of the main galaxy, so I guess you could argue that all of the clones who participated in the Clone Wars were an invading force, but that's really more a joke than anything else. Anyways guys, that's it for today. This video took an exhausting amount of research, so if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and maybe share it with some of your friends. Also, if you made it this far, please tell me which one of the species featured in today's video is your favorite. Also, let me know down in the comments whether you liked this video, whether I missed an intergalactic or interdimensional species, which would not at all be surprising with the hundreds of kind of campy Marvel comic books out there. And of course, let me know which lore videos you'd like to see in the future. I'm also still trying to plan those giveaways, hopefully more information on that within a couple of weeks, but I'm trying to work on some stuff that would be pretty exciting for you guys. Anyways, as always, this has been EckhartsLadder. May the Force be with you.